Hello, and welcome back to the 6th Street Underground, a very special episode of our Zenless Zone Zero podcast discussing all things you and me. Yeah, you like that? Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, man.
I can touch you.
I know, it's great. I love it. I'm so happy. Hi, everybody. As always,
Hello.
I'm your host, Eric, and I'm joined by my ever-wonderful co-host, Ryan.
I thought for a second you were going to do the bringer bit again. And
It would be the worst. Everyone could see in real time the panic in your face.
the like 3 seconds of... I'm bringer. I'm in on this
That
bit.
one's me. Okay. So this time I'll make you an even more obscure character. You're the guy who has the one shop where you could buy clothing for Belle and what's his name?
Not Sanzi.
No. The one with the
I just know him as Not Sanzi.
You can't say not Sanzi because not Sanzi sounds like not ZZ, and that's a very different thing.
No, we're talking about ZZZ.
Okay.
No,
All
we're
right.
good. We're good.
We're not though. We're talking about you and me and some ZZZ. Set the stage. We had some people in our Discord server, which by the way, shout out to our Discord server. Ask us to do kind of an Ask Me Anything sort of Q&A thing about us and like who the people, because we've been doing this podcast for over a year now. We're creeping up towards 2 years.
Yeah, because
like
we started this shortly after the game came out.
Yeah, it was, and we'll talk about that in a second. It was pretty much right there with the launch of ZZZ. So
You started with the launch of ZZZ.
I did. I was day one.
I think I downloaded it like
really quickly. You were downloaded early enough that you were still able to surprise me in one episode by telling me you managed to get Ellen Joe, even though you didn't like. So you got it within the first banner being up. You were able to get it. But anyways, there was a request that like we talk about ourselves a little bit and introduce who we are. So we thought it might be fun to...
I'm practicing my...
So, tell me how you feel. We thought it might be fun to do as a video as well. So, there's probably a disclaimer at the beginning of the audio, but if you're listening to this in podcast form, there is a way for you to see our faces.
How do they do that, Eric?
By going to the 6th Street Underground YouTube channel. The end. That's where you can find it. So we have a list of questions that were submitted by our listeners on the Discord. We're going to try to get to as many as we can, and if there's ones that we don't get to, we'll either do them during episodes, or we'll answer them in the Discord.
Yeah, we'll answer them.
We'll answer them, or we'll do another one of these if anybody cares. So... Brian, do you want to ask the first question?
What's the first question?
The first one underneath the questions about the podcast.
What made you guys want to do a podcast for Zzz? And looking back to where we started, how do we feel about the podcast now?
That's a great question. I'm so glad you asked that
question. Thank you for thanking me.
Thank you for thanking me. So I think I wanted to do a podcast with Brian because... And I'd want to do a podcast about ZZZ because it was a new gacha game. I wanted to do a podcast about a game. Brian, one time when you and I were talking, you pointed out that... Again, I don't know where to look. You can
look at me when you're addressing me.
Yeah. Brian, you pointed out that like you and I have been best friends for ages. And I think we'll talk about that some later. But the problem is that you and I as friends... we could go long chunks of time without seeing each other.
Oh, yeah.
And the moment we saw each other again, it was like no time had passed.
Yeah.
Which is really fun, because it means that like you and I can just go do stuff, and it's amazing.
It's fun for everyone, except anyone else.
My wife has established a protocol where if you're going to come visit, she just disappears for a couple of hours. Because she knows it's going to be all of that pent-up energy exploding. But the other side of this that you highlighted to me one time is like, because it feels like no time has passed, we don't notice the time passing.
Yeah.
And then like we would realize like, I haven't talked to my best friend in like a year.
Yeah. And like we might catch up slightly in between where it'd be like, how are things going? And you'd be good.
Good.
Things with you? Also good.
Great.
Played any new games? Yes. Me too.
Cool.
Good job.
Haven't heard of that one. Neat. We're bad at texting. Like, we're
yeah.
really bad at text. So really, it was like, I wanted to do a podcast with Brian because it was a way for us to talk to each other routinely without having to schedule friendship. Because that sounds awful. So like it gave us a thing to do together that we could do and like talk and have a thing to talk about without like fabricating something weird or feeling like it was a debt.
Yeah, because I think originally you just got me into ZZZ so that way we would have something to talk about. And then you said, why don't we just record it?
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, let's I've been doing some research. Let's do a podcast. It sounds cool. We genuinely thought no one was going to listen to this podcast. I expected to like put it up on the servers and see a download count of 3.
It'd be you.
It'd be me.
Your mom.
Maybe you. And maybe like my mom. And then we found out that your girlfriend would started listening to the podcast because she liked listening to you, but also doesn't play the game. And so we're like, please stop listening to the podcast.
That was also early on in relationship.
It was really sweet.
There was a point where she was like, I'm going to stop listening. And I was like, oh, thank God. Please stop listening to us ramble about a game that you know nothing about.
You don't understand and you don't want to play. My wife has a point of pride for her is that she's never listened to an episode of the podcast and she never will.
Good on her.
I'm proud of her because I don't need her to hear us talk about this game. But that was it. That was like really an excuse for us to talk. How do you feel about the podcast where it is now?
I can't believe people keep saying we should do it.
People want more. I don't understand.
When people tell us that they like it and actually look forward to it, I'm like...
It makes me very happy.
I am
Let me say that.
My guests have been flabbered.
Yeah. I have no more guests. They've all been flabbered to oblivion. We are so grateful that anybody listens to this podcast.
I'm happy people actually like and get any amount of enjoyment out of us being stupid.
Yeah, I feel like this kind of... One of the other questions we were asked was what kind of preparation we do for each episode and how much time do we spend making it. And I think my answer kind of like ties into this. Like we've done a lot of work trying to figure out what we want to do with the podcast. Like you can, if you listen to some of those early episodes, which don't do that. We were like, I got really heavy into like, how do I explain the intricacies of this kit? The Yuzuan episode in particular is one that I was like, maybe the format for 6th Street is that we get really in depth about how do you play a character, and it was unlistenable.
I think there was a point where I was just like, I don't know how other people feel.
Yeah.
But I know as someone who was part of the podcast, I couldn't pay attention because of like the details.
And you had the character.
And it's just that for me, it doesn't translate listening to someone talk about a character and then not being able to like interact with it.
Try it.
Like it just, none of it made sense.
I think that's informed like what we do now with characters. Like the episode that came out recently where we talked about Cecilia, I feel like that was a good evolution of that. Of us being like, here's the TLDR of how do you play this character.
Wow. Oh gosh. And early on we would like talk about like what disk drives you should go for and the substats. And there's a certain point where like, we're just reading off like
a website.
Yeah, whatever website you look at, we're just reading it off. Anyone who's actually cares about their disk drives is just gonna
know.
That's just wasted time. Where it's more fun to talk about Yanagi.
Okay.
Like that's wasted Yanagi time.
Okay. So yeah, I think like we've got some episodes. I'm still like, I don't know if people like when we do the story recaps.
Yeah.
We did hear somebody recently said that like they listened to it and we noticed things they didn't notice when they were playing through it. And like, I like that we could provide that as a service.
I think part of what helps it is because I know we're actually going to talk about the story.
Yeah.
Is I actively take notes.
Yeah, I started doing that
and so I'm actually forcing myself to fully pay attention to the story.
Yeah.
But sometimes the notes I put down for the story, because I started out doing really long, detailed notes.
Yeah.
And one, I got tired of doing it. And two, it's just boring. Because then you end up just kind of reading off your notes. So I did condensed notes. Which sometimes, depending on when I do the story compared to when we actually talk about the story, I've forgotten what my like 3-word phrase was.
I had the same problem. I'm like, I thought this was a great thing to write down. And it's gibberish. It's nothing.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, I don't think we do too much prep.
I was about to say, yeah.
Because we want it to feel like a conversation. We don't want it to feel like a structured seminar on this... like fun game.
You can tell when I've done prep because Brian starts to to zone out.
And sometimes you just go on a tangent about like a random,
man.
an obscure English poet that died in like a peat bog.
Listen, man, we all have our passions. We'll get to the hobbies in a second. No, I think like prep work, we do take notes when we play through the story. I also write down every now and then if there's like the time we talked about me using starring of characters as a way of like keeping track who I've built or not. I'd been doing that for weeks and just kept forgetting to mention it on the podcast. So I just have like a running note on my phone that's like write down like, hey, bring this up or ask Brian about this thing.
I have the same where it's like if there's something I'm really like it doesn't come up organically, then just jot it down and I'm like, oh, we'll talk about that because that'll be something interesting.
But I think
like
you know,
see?
Yeah. We have ESPN. I think like the actual like logistics of making the podcast, I do most of the heavy lifting.
Mostly. He does the lifting.
I do the lifting. Brian has to show up and like give me someone to talk to and make sure this doesn't become the world's most boring Zenless Zone Zero podcast by keeping me from going on tangents and having actual interesting things to say. But I do all of the editing for us right now, and if there's ever any additional music or like
all of the
clips,
production is this guy.
That's me.
I'm the destruction.
But that was also like for that first question, I wanted to get into audio engineering in any way, shape, or form because it's interesting to me, and I didn't want to just like do that on nothing.
Yeah,
and I didn't like the music I was making, and so making a podcast made a lot of sense of like, okay, now this is a thing that I can work on and like experiment, and I still really enjoy it. I think it's tedious sometimes.
Yeah,
and I definitely have nights where I'm like, well, I was going to sit here and play a video game. I have to edit the podcast. But versus where we're at the beginning, I have a lot less to edit out now.
We have.
We've gotten a lot better about like saying things that matter and not like cussing or having long bouts of silence unless I'm sick. Because what y'all don't know is what Brian's had to put up with, where I get allergies that last for months at a time. And it's just me coughing into a microphone.
What? And also, we've had relatively few episodes that have been ruined.
Mm-hmm.
We've had one or two, and I think Eric's always put a disclaimer. Yeah. But we've had one or two that were really, really bad. We had one where there was like a 3-second delay between our audios, so we were talking over each other, which fortunately wasn't. Eric said wasn't too bad. Because
I take what I said back. It was the worst.
That one you just had to shift.
I had to chop every time you talked. Yeah. Or if I was a gap, I had to cut it and then adjust it manually over and over and over again. And it came out sounding fine. Like I don't think people would have noticed it if I hadn't put a disclaimer. Yeah. It was awful.
Well, on the back end it was awful. Our solution to it was basically one person would talk. The other person would wait a couple seconds, then they would talk. So, like, once you pair out all of the silence, it wasn't as bad. But for Eric, every single person talking was accompanied by, like, 3 seconds of dead silence.
Yeah, it was 3 seconds of dead silence. We can't do this back and forth. Don't do this to me. But I would say now, like, at this point, an hour-long episode takes me somewhere between an hour and a half to 2 hours to edit completely, like beginning to end. And since we record every 2 weeks, it hasn't been too bad to balance. Another question on here that I actually would like to ask. How do you balance keeping up with the podcast and other gotchas and stuff with life responsibilities?
For me...
This is not our job.
It's not too... not even close.
We are not paid for this at all yet.
For me, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
One, doing the dailies on ZZZ is super quick, so that helps.
It's the best.
Like if I'm actually busy, I can hop on, do the basics to get the minimum reward, and then jump off in 5 minutes. Take maybe 5 minutes tops. And then my work schedule, I get a couple weekdays off.
Yeah.
Like per week. And so that's super easy time because that's time when my girlfriend's working and I'm not really doing anything. So I can just afford to sit down and knock out 6 hours of ZZZ, so I can do the story and an event and everything. So it's not bad at all.
Yeah, I'm similar. My work's a little bit different. It's just that I travel often for work. Yeah. Like travel time is really nice for like sitting down and doing Zenless stuff because I don't have other responsibility. Yeah. Like as long as I get my work done. But I also have days when my work, if I'm not traveling, I do have days where if everything is done early and my wife and my son are still at work or school, I also have that like at home. Yeah. I can use the TV. I can play through. I try to save story and stuff for those moments. Otherwise, I'll do dailies and things, or I'll do chunks of the story or of events after everyone goes to bed. ZZZ really is great in the way it respects your time most of the time. Even when there's like the version like 2.5, 2.6 stories, which were longer, you could still chunk those in a comfortable way. And the events are always very easy to do, like in bite-sized chunks. Yeah.
It's also I keep gotchas to where they're feasible.
How many are you playing now?
I'm only playing 2 right now. So I got ZZZ, and then I'm playing Chaos Zero Nightmare. Oh. And that one is another one that's really easy to like log in, do your dailies really quick. Okay. And so basically, once I get to the point where I start feeling like a gacha is becoming work just to do the bare minimum, that's when I drop it and
cut it.
Yeah. Both of those have very similar like rolling strategies. Okay. Or like rolling mechanics. Yeah. And so you can play basically free to play.
Sure, yeah.
Like you pay like maybe the $5-10 a month for like the season pass or whatever, but like there's somewhere like the really predatory ones where they're like, if you're not spending $100 minimum per patch, you're not getting anything. Yeah. And so that's the other one is if it starts just becoming too much of a drain on my time or my money, I'm like, nah, there's enough other stuff for me to do.
I play 3 right now. I play Zenless, I play Genshin, and I play Nikkei. Yeah. Because Nikkei is a really good secondary game. Most of the time, it is almost auto-playing. It's just a way to do it. And if you keep up with everything, upkeep is really easy. And I get different things from each of those different games. Like I like the procedural growth of Nikkei. Mm-hmm. I like the combat and atmosphere and all the other things that we've talked about with Zenless. And I really like one, and Genshin, I like the exploration element. I don't do end game in Genshin anymore. Like every now and then, if I really feel like it, I'll try it out and I roll for new characters. I don't do the like equivalent of Shiyu defense and etc. in that game because it's not what I'm excited about. I like the characters and I like exploring. And every now and then there'll be a big event in both games at once or in all 3 games at once, and then I'm like, okay, I'm not playing other games for the next week. Yeah. These are the only things I'm going to play. Yeah. And that can get a little bit tiring, but it's very rare when that happens. What's important for me is that I started all 3 of these games when they launch. Yes. There's no catch up.
So many gotchas. Someone's like mentioned them. I've started them and I'm like, there's too much to catch up. And I just feel, and then like, and I mean, it's always bad to go to the internet when you're talking about a gotcha because it's
unless you're going to a podcast about Zenless Zone Zero, in which case you're in just the right.
But don't go to the internet. Go to Discord. Go there. Legally distinct.
Go to YouTube. Watch us talk about it.
But you go in because it's all doomers because they're like, you miss this character. This character is essential to playing this game. You might as well not even bother. Yeah.
Well, the format's built on FOMO. It's like you have to go in knowing that like either you were there from day one or you're going to miss things and being okay with it. But I also like, we comes up on Discord a lot. Like people are like, oh, this new game's coming out. I'm excited. Like MiHoYo's got this new game coming out and it's going to be awesome. And it's got all the things you like, Eric. And I'm like, that's cool. Don't have room. If I want to play other video games and I do, I don't even, it's almost relieving to be like, I don't have to touch that. Like I don't even have to try it. It's good.
Yeah. My free time now is I don't have time for more gotchas or I barely have time to play.
I'm too old.
Games. Yeah. Like, well, because one of my hobbies takes up so much actual time that it cuts into any other time I would have.
Well, that's actually a good question, Brian. What hobbies other than ZZZ do you like to do?
Oh, that is a good question. Thank you for asking.
Thank you, Discord.
I've never mentioned it on the podcast.
Of course not. Definitely not on the episode before this.
Yeah. But I play Warhammer.
Yeah.
Both Age of Sigmar and 40K.
Yeah.
And so that takes up a lot of time between building the models and then painting them.
Mm-hmm.
That is just hours and hours of time right there. So wanting to keep my girlfriend happy, I actually have to see her.
That's also a hobby.
So that's my biggest one that takes up most of my time.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, video games, obviously, because we're on a podcast about it.
I actually wanted to, I haven't said this to you yet. I'm so jealous. When you and I were in high school, and I think in a moment we're going to talk about, our lore. Yeah. When we were in high school, we would dream of being in a place in our life where we could get into Warhammer.
Yes.
And, having the table and the figures and all of that was super exciting. I've come to terms with myself to know that I will never be able to do Warhammer. There's just too much, and I bounce between hobbies too frequently.
Yes.
And it's the onboarding is just so high.
It is not a beginner friendly
No.
hobby. It is very much one of those
it has to be your hobby.
Yeah, this is your hobby.
This is it.
Unless you have infinite money and can just pay someone else to do all the labor work, you could just pay, you buy the hobbies, the kits, which are already expensive, and then send them off to a commission painter to paint up your whole army, unless you can just do that.
Yeah, the doodad economy is insane.
Yes.
So I just want to say I'm so envious.
I do think about that because I remember.
I wanted to
this
so
is a
bad.
tangent, but that when we were at the Magic the Gathering tournament,
yes,
and we saw people playing Warhammer,
we got scorched at that tournament too, man.
Oh god, we were.
Is that the one where you got the prize for the best loser, the best
the sportsmanship award? Because I had an illegal card in my deck, but the judge had checked it.
Yeah.
So I lost the game because I was playing with it. They had to pull the card, and then but yeah, basically I didn't throw a fit because the judge looked through my deck, said everything was good, and then when someone challenged it, the judge was like, "Oh, that card's not good. We have to pull it from your deck." And now you have a deck that is less than 60 cards, so it's an illegal deck, so you lose.
You lose. In hindsight, the fact that you got an award for not acting like a giant baby shows you what the bar is at the Magic the Gathering tournament.
But and then
anyways, we saw people playing Warhammer at that.
Yeah, and we were we were like, one day we're gonna.
This is cool. We would go look at the Warhammer sets, and we would go to the card shop and stuff. So I love that you're able to invest in that, and I just have to come to terms with myself to know that I pick up lots of different hobbies. That's a fully modded, upgraded Game Boy Advance, because I got into game console modding at some point. Yeah. And I've done kit building, and I get excited about all kinds of different hobbies, and then my ADHD kicks in.
Yeah, you do needlework, and
I do a cross stitch. I've done chainmail making. If there's a chainmail hauberk behind us somewhere. Yeah. You and I both do board games.
Yes, we do.
You can't see just off to the side of the camera is the built-in bookshelf I had installed full of board game things.
I have more board games than I ever.
You have a beautiful collection of board games.
Which is kind of, I mean, part of it was influenced by my friend group, but it was also, I had hit a point where I had so many board games that I wasn't getting them to the table.
Yeah.
And
you're
so,
just collecting.
Just buying them and having them just sit there, I was like, this is a waste of money.
Because your brain's really bad about the FOMO when it comes to Kickstarter.
Yes. And
you would be like, I didn't even know I Kickstarted this, but it just came in and it's got a 4-foot tall diorama of Cthulhu.
It's so funny enough, I've got a Godzilla for that same game that's about to get. And so part of what helped me kick that habit is I don't have the money to kickstart board games and play Warhammer.
And have a girlfriend and play Warhammer.
Yeah, and so I kind of dropped, for the most part, board games unless it's something really, really... Now it actually has to be a really good, fun, interesting board game. Mm-hmm. Not just one where I'm like, oh, I have 8 games like this, but this one's a pirate-themed, and I don't have a pirate-themed version of this game yet.
My thing for board games has been, the older I get, the less interested I am. I learned about myself because I don't like competitive things. Same with Magic tournaments. So after that, I'd gotten really into card game tournaments for a while, and I would play at a tournament and brag, win, and do really, really well, and realize that I felt so bad about other people losing that I wasn't enjoying winning games. And I was like, maybe I'm just not a competitive person. And because it's so hard to get people to the table to play board games, I almost solely collect collaborative board games now.
Yeah.
I really like games that let us beat the machine or get decimated by the machine.
Yeah.
Than I would ever want to play. I'll pick up every now and then, but most games I don't want to play where I'm like competing with you. If it's a competitive board game, I want there to be a lot of randomness to it.
Yeah, so
Wax of Quinlanburgs is a really good example of like, I love that game because it really is just personal gambling and hope.
Yeah, it's not one of those where it's not.
I don't get outskilled.
Yeah, you're like, if you don't know the proper strategy. But yeah, then also I play Dungeons and Dragons. Well, I use Dungeons and Dragons as a catch-all. The current
role playing.
One of the games I'm in is Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
But another one is called Shadow of the Weird Wizard.
Cool.
Which people who play tabletop RPGs probably haven't heard about it.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. And I play games with you.
But yeah, it's just another board game.
I love D&D. The only game I had going was with you and another friend of ours online. And it turns out that when everyone playing also have full-time jobs and 2/3 have kids, the game doesn't stay consistent.
Yeah.
And I'm bummed right now because I don't miss it. Like, I love playing D&D and I love playing D&D with you. But it takes so much time and mental bandwidth. And when we could play would be at night. And what y'all bring it back to a different question. You can probably tell which episodes we recorded at night and which episodes we got to record during the day. Because the energy is drastically different when we record after 7:30 p.m.
We started off recording
at night.
Exclusively at night because that was the only time my schedule would allow, really.
Yeah.
And then now I have more time in the morning, which
it's so much better when we record in the morning. So like, this is actually a question here before we move on. What's your preferred? I'm gonna say, instead of saying like actual D&D class, what's your preferred like archetype for a role playing game character?
I keep trying to break out of this mold, and I keep playing different characters. And every time I play a character that isn't this archetype, I end up either regretting it or like slowly just like
drifting into it.
But I like, as people very correctly called out, I like heavy armor, big weapon.
I was gonna guess the Yidhari of D&D characters.
I like Yidhari. I like heavy
Caesar.
armor fighter or like a paladin. Like I like a splash of magic, but I don't like the drawbacks of magic where like I die too easily. I want to be able to just walk up, tank some hits, hit someone back, and just laugh at big number.
But I mean, also like when you play, like you're so good at playing the character that like the skills of the character don't matter as much as your ability to like get into character and play them for the game. And I'm so jealous of you because I like to play a wizard. Because I want to solve problems with the tools that I have, and I just want a bunch of spells. Because I'm not as good at, like, playing the game as you are. And so, like, every time I play a character, except for the one game we were playing with our friend where I was playing a rogue, Fisher, I understood.
Yeah,
like, I knew that character because I just based him off of Doc Holliday from Tombstone.
Oh, yeah. No, amazing.
That was the character. But as a fish dude. But most of the time, like I like the puzzle solving aspect of like what is the spell that I could use to either ruin the DM's day or take control of the situation.
Yeah. And
so when I play D&D, it's a lot more about like mechanically addressing the scenario, whereas you're really good at being like, what would my character do to do the same thing I just did, but like in a funny or interesting or chaotic way?
Well, and it's because I'm not as good as like.
You don't care about mechanics nearly as much as I do.
I get bogged down too much in trying to like think of the mechanics, and I end up I'm not as great as like pre-solving the mechanics. So like when I play a wizard, every time I'm like, I wish I hadn't taken this spell.
Yeah.
So you're much better at like analyzing the mechanics and how you can use them.
Yeah.
And I go the route of if I just role play hard enough, they'll let me do it.
if I can be funny and convincing, I can do it.
So we take two very different strategies to role play.
Yeah, I like that. We play really, really well together.
I've loved every time we've tried to play a role-playing game where we were both characters.
Yeah.
And we've tried it a couple times where our characters were like their personalities were polar opposites, and they weren't supposed to get along. And within the first like session, we're like, "Are we best friends?" We're like,
I think we might be best friends.
And like, all right. My son is like, my wife was killed by a wizard. And he was like, I'm a wizard, and I'm constantly hunted by a paladin. And I'm like, friends?
Yes. Doesn't matter what happens. This is actually a perfect segue into, I think, the big question for the day. And I wish I wrote down, y'all, I originally wrote down who asked what question, and then at some point deleted that from the questions. And so I'm sorry if you asked a question and we didn't write down who it was. Thank you to Discord.
If we asked your question, just spam "that's me" in the
That's
chat
me,
with no other context.
It's me. Okay. They asked, please tell us the Eric and Brian lore. How did you guys meet, or some other interesting history? And I think this actually all connects, because if memory serves, I met you in, I want to say seventh grade. It was 7th grade. We were both going to the same middle school. You were relatively new to North Carolina? No, to the
I had
town.
just
I don't want to say what town.
Yeah, I just moved to the town that year.
Yeah, so you were new, and I had, at that point, I want to say a couple of friends, but my closest friend went to a different school.
Mm-hmm.
And all my other friends were a year or two or more younger than me, or also went to a different school. And so, like, also 7th grade, which, as somebody who used to teach 7th grade, they're not bad people, but they're bad at being people. And you're really figuring it out. And Brian and I had not.
Everyone is trying to still figure out who they are as a person.
Yeah. No one's cool. Everyone's horny. And you don't know what to do about any of it.
Yeah.
And so I was approached, I think you were approached by the same guy, I don't want to say his name, but the same guy who wanted to do a role-playing game during our lunch break using Lego figures as the characters.
Yes.
And using not D&D, but a more obscure and difficult to parse.
Infinitely more granule.
Because it was Heroes, right? It was.
You
wanted to do Heroes Unlimited, which is
by Palladium Games.
It's Palladium is Kevin Sambedia, who has made a million things. It's interesting to look at, but if you've ever played it, you're going, oh, I'm an adult and I wouldn't be able to do that. And we were in 7th grade.
Yeah.
So he approached us separately, just trying to put together a table of nerds to play D&D. And that's when I was like, Brian and I sat down and started talking to each other. Like, oh, wait, actually,
there's something here.
There's something. Like, there's a spark. This guy is, I think Brian's really, really funny. And so then we realized that, like, we actually had some classes together, especially like our specials.
Yeah.
Or like we had PE together. I have so many memories of our PE teacher who, if memory serves, did not care what we did as long as we weren't talking to him.
Yeah.
We would almost every day was like outside field time. As long as you weren't sitting still, he left you alone. And so Brian and I would just walk laps, like actual laps around
the
field, making our, like, at first just inventing the one character.
Yeah.
Which, I don't remember yours, but I remember mine was a horrible cyborg abomination.
I think mine, I want to say my first character had, he was basically like he had the He-Man sword.
Yeah.
Where like it was the source of his power.
And so like, I remember now looking back on it, it was the chance for us to talk about our own like headcanon things with somebody else who was kind of listening, and that was new.
Yeah.
And that was so exciting. And within that year, like, I think we stopped playing with that kid. He brought us to the table.
Well, like the games never actually happened because, again, it's a system that's not, like, we were trying to play during lunch.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't working because none of us actually knew what we were doing or how to play. And so it just, it
didn't play.
The vast majority of Dungeons and Dragons games, it just never even got off the ground.
But you and I became friends. And, like, we were, like, kind of trying it out at first. And then we were like, oh, wait, no. Like, this is as close as you get to, like, a friend soulmate at that age.
Yeah.
We started spending nights at each other's houses. We got into, like, we spent so much of middle and high school buying more and more of Kevin Sambedia's products. So we bought all the Rifts books and all that.
God, we spent so much money. Money we didn't have at that age.
It. Making characters, getting really, like, staying up all night, letting Adult Swim play in the background while we so long that we saw the same episodes twice every night, because at a certain point they just play them again.
We hit the rerun period.
We'd watch it twice, and we would just make characters and, like, talk to each other about, like, what do they do? And like we would try to role play every now and then, just the two of us. We weren't interested in that for the most part. We really just wanted to make characters.
Yeah, and then just talk about how cool they would be.
And like we loved it. We had so much fun doing that. We started we would go on like those. We mentioned in the last episode, walking around at night or like sitting in the hot tub together and just like chatting,
just stewing
games.
in a hot tub for hours on end.
We got really big into like Newgrounds videos.
We would watch Newgrounds videos.
Brian played a game with Newgrounds where he would open like 20 to 30 tabs worth of Newground videos with music in them.
Yeah, as many music videos as I could get my hands on and play them all at the same time. And
until it was only one trickling off at the end.
And it was great because like the middle of it was just this uncoherent mass. And then like some of them were, it took so long to get to all of the tabs because this was back in the days of the internet where like
early,
like you were still counting like
the 256 megabyte flash drive era of internet.
Yeah,
Show Me was new.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's Eric. We're going to spend the whole time just reminiscing about our childhood
on bad Flash videos. Flash existed. Yeah, it would take you something to get them all queued up that the first one would already be ending when you got
before I had even started the last one.
So really, it was just like, how long can we get the last one to run? We did that for hours.
Looking back, and then at some point we transitioned into WoW.
We played World of Warcraft together for a long. That was the first time we played games together. I think really because like we did some games together a little bit, but Brian can attest. Like this is around we were playing games together when the Xbox first came out.
Yeah.
So we played Halo together. And I am not good at shooters.
Eric is not a shooter person.
So bad. So we played World of Warcraft together a lot. And there's a mixed bag there because on one hand, like it gave us something to play together and it made me want to have things to accomplish. Like dailies became a thing that I like crave even after I finally cut the addiction of World of Warcraft, which is why we play Zenless Zone Zero and other gotchas. But we played that together religiously to the point where like we were in pretty good raiding guilds, and you and I would both go through phases of wanting to be a tank, and so like we would take turns leading
the
runs.
problem is you and I tended to want to play the same character at the same time, so we were both rogues at the same time.
We were both rogues,
and then we were both like, I'm gonna
the most our relationships ever been strained was trying to get Emerald Ripper off of Morose when we were both in a rogue phase.
Yeah,
because we were both like, I'm gonna be livid.
Eric,
Brian got it first.
No, you got it.
Did I get it first?
You got it, and I was so so mad. For no, like the typical teenage reason of it's a random drop, and it was his night to raid. So like, he didn't cheat me out of it, but I was just mad that he got it because I wanted it. Yeah. And teenagers have the control, so the self-control of a boiled egg.
It only started to resolve when like you got big on playing a Death Knight.
Yeah.
And I got big on playing a Paladin. So we could both tank at the same time and need different gear.
And in no way was that related to us also just getting older to where we had finally developed.
Exactly. So I mean, you and I we've been best friends since like high school. We used to walk around and plan out our Eric and Brian's friendship blimp that did have a Warhammer table in it.
It did have a Warhammer.
It was all there.
Oh God, you remember how we were so nerdy and not a threat to our parents. My parents would go away for the weekend, leave us the whole house and a bunch of money.
And
all we would do is we would go to the store. We would buy
Yoo-hoo
and Hamburger Helper, and we would just play World of Warcraft for the whole weekend.
Yeah.
Like, they were so unconcerned about two 17-year-old boys having any sort of, like, a party or anything. They were just like,
and we thought we were getting away with things because we installed WoW on your parents' computer. So I could play downstairs and you played upstairs, and we put the computers next to the house intercom.
So we could push the button and tell each other what we were doing.
We could communicate like we weren't already doing that. That was the time where we went to Arby's. And they were doing 5 for $5, and I think we both spent over $30 each. And came home and were so full that we both laid next to each other on your parents' bed.
We laid on the bed.
Like we could walk again.
Until we felt good enough to go sit in the hot tub.
Yep.
Until we felt good enough to...
And then played World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
There was a lot of us, like, us bonding. We've always bonded over games.
Yeah.
I think. Like, because we would... There was D&D, it was World of Warcraft. Like, when we weren't playing WoW, we were sitting in the hot tub talking about WoW.
Yeah.
And as sad as that sounds, and we know how sad that sounds... It really was just like it gave us a focal point for conversation. We've always been able to talk about just about anything, but it's always felt like if we didn't have at least one game between each other that we were playing, the conversations meandered in weird ways. Like we always kind of needed an anchor point of like this shared hyperfixation that we could talk about. That's just kind of like what's carried us to now, and like that's why I'm so glad we have the podcast still. Is that it gives us a chance for you and I to talk frequently. We have a thing to talk about, but we spend just as much time when we record, y'all. Like we'll record an hour. What you don't get is that on a good day, 30 to 45 minutes of us just chatting, and like giving each other updates, and like my wife makes fun of me because I don't ask questions about your personal life, and you don't ask questions about my personal life. And so, like, I was like, at one point, like, oh yeah, Brian has a girlfriend. And my wife's like, well, what's her name? And I was like, I don't know. I didn't ask. He didn't tell me. It didn't matter. We talked about Zenless Zone Zero. Yeah. Jane Doe came out. Like, I don't, like.
it's very much, you're like, how's doing? I'm like, I'm assuming he's doing all right. Otherwise, he would have told me.
Yeah, how's my son doing? I don't know. Like, he seems okay. It's really been, like, because it's just hanging out with a friend, man. And we also, we lived together for a while when we were in college. Yeah. We were living together when I met my wife.
Yeah.
And so we like to joke that she went through the crucible of relationships because she had to put up with the two of us being around each other 24/7. And we weren't playing WoW at the time, but we were deep into League of Legends.
I was going to say, we were playing something objectively worse.
Even worse. And so I don't know how she stayed with me because she would come over and like, you know, I was just playing League.
But we did go phases where we would go back and forth between MMOs.
Yeah.
And that was when you first realized you couldn't play MMOs anymore.
Oh, yeah.
They could, I mean, and by their nature is they want you to be addicted to them.
I have ADHD and anxiety, and I use video games as a coping mechanism. I can't have an MMORPG because I just sink so far into it that it jeopardizes, like, the only reason my relationship survived was because it was attached to the game.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's sabotaged. Like, that's why, like, for me, as predatory and problematic and, like, admittedly challenging as gacha games can be, having a thing that I can do each day to feel like I'm making progression somewhere and to, like, escape briefly but doesn't consume everything is a valuable mechanism for me that my therapist approves of. As long as the budgeting stays in check. You want to ask another question? Before we just ramble.
Yeah, I was like, we did ramble for quite a while.
Do it.
While we're still on the hobby,
hobbies. I didn't mention I love fishing.
Oh God, yeah, we didn't even talk about your hobby really.
I love fishing. I had a kid, and the part of your brain that controls dad urges was like, you either become a fishing dad, a car dad, or a sports dad. And I don't like sports and I don't like cars, so I guess I like fishing. I love fishing.
It also helps that your dad loves fishing, so it was immediately like an intergenerational bonding.
It's my dad's like this. It took 35 years, but I finally had the same hobby as my dad. My son's interested in it. It's essentially just real life gacha gaming because you're just pulling out random fish from the water and hoping you get a cool one.
If you spend more money on rods, you get better fish.
Buy more. There's things I can spend money on, but like tackle's cheap. You know, like I can have a place to put funds, but apart from getting like, I love fishing. I want to take you fishing sometime. I think it would be fun just to go on a fishing trip. We'll record it or something. It'd be fun. Now I've talked about hobbies. We can talk about something else.
We'll slide sort of. What anime do we watch? Because yes, we both watch anime.
We watch anime. Brian sometimes is my anime guru. Which you used, and probably not as much now, but you used to like. If it was out, you saw it.
I used to watch a ton of anime.
Yeah.
And over the years it feels almost like I feel obnoxious saying it, but I don't watch anime now. I mostly read manga.
Yeah.
Just because it's easier to fit it in instead of sitting down and watching. Like an episode, I can read a chapter or two on my phone really quickly.
You read the whole thing in a week as opposed to spending months working through an anime.
So I read a lot of more manga currently.
Cool. I wish I could get into reading manga. I don't read. I've tried. So my ADHD just does not handle digital reading.
Yeah.
And so it needs to be physical, and it is not sustainable.
No. financially to read manga.
Although
physically,
libraries have gotten much better than when we were kids. When we were kids, like
it was awful.
Being into anime was not allowed. Like we were very much that generation.
You were my entrance point because you were in the anime club at our middle school.
Yes, because my older sister, got me into anime.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and so I watch a lot of anime now because during quarantine, my therapist kept making references to Naruto.
Yeah.
To help me understand the things we were talking about, and at some point I had to and for a while I just been like, yeah, man, totally, because I didn't want to be wrong, which is bad for therapy. But eventually I was like, I'm sorry, dude, I've never watched Naruto, and he goes, oh, you should, you really like it, and then you'd understand what I'm talking about. So we did, and I put a couple episodes on. And my wife was like, this is stupid. Naruto's stupid. I don't care. It took less than 2 episodes, and she was like, I love this. And we watched all of Naruto and all of Shippuden.
That's
hours. It's a lot. It was quarantine, so we had time, and we didn't have a kid yet. But that got my wife hooked on anime, and got me like, I really like this. And then since then, it's been something that she and I can share. And I've been like, well, let me, we rewatched all the things that we watched when we were, I had the flashbacks we talked about, we watched Toonami. So I'd seen not in sequence, but I'd seen Trigun and Evangelion and
Cowboy
Bebop and the one with the Ghost in the Shell. And so a lot of those coming back to watch them as an adult.
Outlaw Star.
The
fist fighting robot ships.
So that was I had a taste of it, and then I got really deep into it, and then for a while I'd be like, all right, Brian, we just finished this. What should we watch next?
Yeah.
And you betrayed us at one point because you were like, oh, you're going to like this. And it was like Angel Beats. And I did. I love sad anime. I love anime that makes me feel bad when it ends. I think it's because my favorite's Cowboy Bebop. So that's kind of where my brain is.
Yeah.
We were not prepared for Angel Beats. We were not prepared for Puella and Magi Madoka Magica.
Yeah.
And so to the point where
those are some of my favorite. Is the ones where you go in blind and you're like, all right, cool, this is a fun little, oh my god, this is the darkest thing I've ever seen.
And I love that. My wife less so. I love that. But I'd be like, okay, Brian, what do we watch next? And you were like, Laid Back Camp. And I'm like, I don't trust you.
And then Laid Back Camp is 100% what it says.
It's perfect. You haven't watched it, Laid Back Camp. Brian described it once as a cup of warm cider on a cool autumn day. But as an anime. And he was right. We've rewatched it twice now.
It's just so good.
It's comfort food. But no, we've been lately on we like to watch a lot of the shonen stuff. So we watched Gachi Akuda, the trash anime, all the Jujutsu Kaisen and Chainsaw Man, and my wife really likes Demon Slayer.
Okay, yeah.
And I absolutely loved my favorite anime now is Dan to Dan.
I love Dan to Dan.
Oh, Dan to Dan feels like when you want to watch versus read because so much of it is the expressive animation.
Yeah,
the manga is really good too. I love watching it.
Have you guys watched Kaiju number 8?
No, but it's on my list.
That one's good. I just finished reading it.
Okay, this can't be the rest of the episode.
Yeah, and then also I'm currently reading Witch Hat Atelier.
Okay,
which so far is
pretty comfy cozy.
It's comfy cozy. I definitely get the hint that it's going to be darker, heavier themes, but it's a fun, cozy, so not dark, edgy so far.
The other one I think that has been I started watching because I knew I would like it, and my wife ended up really liking it. Is even though it's a big one, is Frieren. Frieren is just so comfy. It's got this great balance of action and high fantasy stuff, but also they give time to things. They let it breathe.
If you also want a good shonen one, Mashley.
Okay.
It's called Muscles and Magic.
Cool.
That
sounds like a me thing.
The whole premise of it is this guy is born without magic in a world where everyone can use magic.
Everyone does magic.
And so this guy basically trains his son to be so good at hitting things that people will think it's magic and they won't kill him.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so it's just a guy who it's basically One Punch Man, the fantasy.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I have to move us away from anime.
Yeah. Wait.
Otherwise, we like anime. If there's things that you think we should watch, put it in our Discord. We'll watch it. Probably.
What you're watching is our friendship.
Yeah, this is it.
We would do this for hours and hours on end.
Until the sun came up, and we're still doing it.
you want to talk about video games that aren't Zenless Zone Zero?
Yeah, we could talk about.
What's your favorite video game of all time, Brian?
Oh.
Because you already know mine. I want to know yours.
Oh, my favorite of all time. I'm
curious if it's a Fallout, because I want to say Fallout.
It's Fallout.
Is it New Vegas?
I would put like New Vegas and 3 kind of like in the same. Yeah, 100%. Okay. Like I've played multiple playthroughs of the Tale of Two Wastelands, which is the mod that lets you play 3 and New Vegas in the same character profile.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the gameplay is enjoyable.
Yeah.
But I love the world. I love the whole vibe. I love the post-apocalyptic, but the like retro future, so like the whole styles and like this,
which connects to Zenless,
the fun like
like
mid-century vibe, and then the music is just bangers. So I would say Fallout would be 100% my absolute go-to favorite
for sure. Are there any like franchises that you're like, this is my, maybe not my favorite game, but like I will always love this franchise or like this series?
Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy. Both of us were always deep on Final Fantasy.
That's an easy one to say.
What's your favorite Final Fantasy?
7. Yeah. That's the one that got, like most people who, like 7's the one that got me into Final Fantasies.
When we were in middle school, we tried writing books.
Oh, God.
And your book was essentially...
It was just me rewriting Final Fantasy 7.
He had a motorcycle and a big sword.
Yeah.
I'm not putting you on blast. I made a whole new language for mine. I got deep in Lord of the Rings style, like, here's the script for the text. But, man, we tried writing books in middle school. They were bad. Yeah. Final Fantasy's a big one for us.
Yeah, and then I really like From Software games. Cool, Bloodborne would be my favorite of those.
Yeah.
I already know Eric's favorite game is Skies of Arcadia Legends.
It's Skies of Arcadia Legends. Far and away my favorite game that no one's played, but you should all play. His
biggest torture is the fact that Nintendo constantly remakes these old games and just doesn't do anything with...
The head of Sega Ages was the producer for Skies of Arcadia. She knows it, or director. She knows it exists. And they don't do anything. Skies of Arcadia came out originally on Dreamcast. It was a Dreamcast game that no one got because it was a Dreamcast and it wasn't Sonic. And then they released it on the GameCube as Skies of Arcadia Legends toward the end of the GameCube's life. So it's this really awesome, totally original, turn-based RPG that no one's played, and they don't port it to anything. And like a copy costs $100 or something to get off of eBay now.
Yeah.
It's my favorite game of all time. It's all about exploration and adventure, and it's campy, and it's fun, and you're playing as like good sky pirates versus bad sky pirates, but the whole world is like, everything was original and it felt new and fresh, and it's just fun. I've made you play it with me.
Yeah. Oh, man.
We had a blast.
The amount of times I've enjoyed you climbing that ladder.
Skies of Ladders Legends.
Speaking of, the amount of times we've played Tales of.
We play a lot of Tales of games.
When we lived together, we would play that because they were still couch co-op.
Yeah, that was the best.
We got into a lot of couch co-op when we lived together.
And I think every time we play them, we get about 2/3 of the way through and go, I don't think I like this game anymore.
No.
They always outstay their welcome, but we love being able to play the games together. There are so many times where we'd be playing and like, because if you're not fighting, only one person's in control. And Brian and I both tried to play off not having fallen asleep on the couch while the other one was controlling them.
What was it? Tales of Symphonia was the one where, for whatever reason, the only thing the second player could do was spin the map. So Eric would be running, and I would just start spinning the map, and he would be desperately trying to actually achieve the goal.
Just making it impossible to get anywhere.
And that's when there was a couple times where we were like, all right, we're done for the night, because I was just so bored, and Eric was hitting that tired, irritated point.
I get sleepy grumpy.
He's very sleepy
grumpy. I get really sleepy grumpy. And Brian's able to go from 100 to 0 immediately, so he doesn't have like a ramp down. And so sometimes, like, especially the older we get towards like 11 o'clock, and I'm like, we gotta be done.
Yeah.
I'm not having fun anymore.
Yeah, I was like, I could keep going, and Eric's like, I don't want to.
Brian has this amazing ability to always keep going with whoever's up with him. And I love it, but I was also like, there were times when we were living at our old house, I'm like, you have to go to bed.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be your mom, but I'm going to be your mom. You've got to go to bed because I can't sleep and you're loud. You have to go to sleep, dude. Yeah, my favorite is Skies of Arcadia. I think I'm also really big on Pokemon.
Yeah.
I have favorite Pokemon games. It's not my favorite game, but it's top 3 probably. Whichever one. But and then you and I tend to like a lot of the same games.
Yeah.
I don't like Fallout at all. I've tried.
Which, for someone who doesn't like a shooter, you're not going to like a first person.
I don't like anything Bethesda makes. And I tried really hard, and I want to, and I've put hundreds of hours in the Skyrim. I don't like Bethesda games.
They're quirky enough that, like, you have to embrace the fact that, like,
that they're held together by duct tape and dreams.
Yeah.
But you don't Pokemon. Like, you don't have any.
Yeah, I'm not.
You're not attached.
I'm not huge into Pokemon. I tried with Sword Silver and Shield Gold.
Killing me. Yeah, I can't.
I tried when I tried playing one. It was Sword and Shield, right?
Sword and Shield came out on Switch. It was the first one.
I tried playing that, and
This is a tough way to get back in. That was not the best Pokemon game.
Yeah, I was like, eh.
I got you. I think one of my favorite gaming experiences for us was I got you into Monster Hunter.
You did get me into Monster Hunter,
and that was with For You. It was on the 3DS.
Yeah,
and we got deep into Monster Hunter. I love Monster Hunter is one of my favorite.
Monster Hunter is also a really good franchise.
But like that was back. It wasn't fully on. Like you could play online, but you had to kind of be around people.
Yeah.
So we were living together, I think. Mm-hmm. So we would go to like a coffee shop in the town we lived in that was like a nerd coffee shop. And there were it got to the point where, like I could walk in, there was always somebody I knew who was playing Monster Hunter. And we would sit down and just like hunt for hours. And it felt like going back to high school with you.
Yeah.
We were like, there's a thing that we're both excited about. We can both play this thing. It's hard. It's harder than like World was. Like it was difficult. And so we got really into playing that. I've not been as good about playing Monster Hunter when it comes out now with other people because it is a time expectation I just don't have anymore with family and kids. And
yeah, the older you get, the more I base games on whether or not I can play it on my time. Mm-hmm. So like right now I'm playing Crimson Desert.
Cool.
Which is great because it's I really like the open world exploration games.
Yeah.
And it scratches that itch of I can sit down, I can play it, and I can play for 5 hours or I can play for 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. I don't have to, I'm not playing with other people.
Yeah.
And it's not like time gated. It's not like an MMO where you have to put time in. Yeah. You can, like, I haven't played it for like 2 weeks because I got really into painting a couple of my models. And for anyone who does play Warhammer, like when you get into that zone, like you got to stick with it.
When you lock in.
Because like once you lose that motivation, it could be a while unless you like are good about forcing yourself to paint. Because sometimes you're just like, I don't feel like painting trim for 5 hours tonight.
Sounds awful. That's cool. But I've been playing a lot of single player role playing games.
Yeah, so right now I'm almost anything that requires other people to play. I don't play just because. I don't want other people to ruin what time I do have to play video games.
Can't play MOBAs, can't play.
And I don't want to have to commit time to like playing.
Yeah, I don't want to feel like by not playing because I'm doing things like spending time with my family, I'm missing out.
Yeah.
You know? And even though like logical part of my brain is like, hey dude, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The other part of the lizard brain is like, but you could be better.
Yeah.
You could be doing this. And then like, that's all I can think about. I mean, one of the questions we got that I think kind of folds into this, you mostly play on PC.
Yes.
You're a PC gamer.
I'm almost 100% PC.
And phone.
And phone, but that's really like the only gacha game I play on my phone is Chaos Zero. I don't really
play Zenless on computer. Right?
Yeah, I play almost no Zenless on computer or on phone. I only play it on computer
because I'm like the opposite. I don't play games on my computer.
Yeah,
so much of my work is from home on a computer, and the way my brain works. When I tried playing computer games and working from home, I did it during quarantine when it was quarantining. I would sit down at my desk and know I had work to do, and my brain is like, "This is the play space. You gotta play.
Yeah,
it's game time." And like I would do that. Just you're like, I'm gonna play for 20 minutes and then I'll be good. And then it's 3 hours later and I haven't done the work I'm supposed to be doing. I intentionally bought a computer that could not play games, so that when I'm in my office, it's a workspace, and if I'm in the living room, it's a play space. Mm-hmm. But I also really like handheld gaming, so like I play on the Switch a lot. They just announced Zenless for Steam Deck. I'm very excited because I have a Steam Deck that I can play. That's how I get access to my Steam library now. It needs to be Steam Deck appropriate. I've been collecting Game Boy Advance games. I play. That's nostalgic for me, but I play a little bit more on my phone than you. I still rather play Zenless on PlayStation because it looks better and plays nicer. Mm-hmm. But I can't do computer gaming. Yeah. Fortunately, most games that come out that we're both interested in, like you sold me on Expedition 33.
Oh, yeah, that
was accessible on both. So like I get to play it on PlayStation, you got to play it on PC, mm-hmm. and like I know everyone's yo-yoing in that game because it got popular and people hate popular things. That game was incredible.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, it was amazing.
One of my favorite experiences I've had playing video games.
That was another vinyl of a video game soundtrack that I bought.
We both have that. Yep. I got the same thing. I think that was a big experience for me, and like I think the game that I played recently that I don't think it's a good game, but it was really impactful to me. Death Stranding 1 is incredible.
Oh, yeah.
If you already were going to be someone who likes Death Stranding,
yeah,
it's phenomenal, and I don't think anyone should play it. We can't keep talking about video games though.
Oh, that's literally what this podcast is.
That's the rest of these questions. Do you have any pets, Brian?
Yes.
Cool, me too.
She's made some appearances on the podcast.
I mean, I edit most of those out. But every now and then I'll get distracted because I'll see Brian's cat. I'm like, is that my cat? And then interrupt the podcast doing it. And I have to edit that back out again. Yeah. You have a kitty cat. I have 3. They would be joining us right now, but we had to close the door because they kept trying to attack the recording equipment.
Doing cat things.
Doing cat things. Brian, do you listen to any other podcasts?
I don't right now.
Yeah.
I used to. I used to listen to a couple role-playing podcasts.
Yeah.
And I also used to listen to Last Podcast on the Left.
Okay.
But I just kind of fell out of mm-hmm. them because I don't have a good time to like.
Because you can't listen to when you're working, right? Like you maybe could.
I can, but I find myself not paying attention to the podcast. And, yeah. So my job just isn't like when I used to have a job where like I could just have my headphones in for like the whole shift, and because all I was doing was like painting and moving furniture and stuff, and like those were perfect because they were engaging enough that like I didn't focus on the drudgery of my work.
Yeah.
And then now I slipped out of them.
I get that. I travel a lot, so I get a lot of consuming. And then my son goes to school 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
So I listen to podcasts that he can listen to on the way there, and then listen to my own podcast. And I get a lot of podcast time. Mm-hmm. I listen to a lot of the I've tried to do D&D podcasts. And there's one that I really enjoyed. Mm-hmm. I listened to The Adventure Zone for a long time. I still touch back in. I have trouble keeping track of the linear story, especially if I'm doing podcast stuff. I really like My Brother and Me as a comedy podcast. If you haven't checked it out, you should. And I tend to prefer more comedy-aligned podcasts. That like it's okay to kind of dip in and out. I want it to be funny. I've listened to some podcasts on like there's one for Genshin. Mm-hmm. I think it's called The Resonance. That's pretty good. It's also gave me ideas of what I liked and didn't like in a gotcha review podcast to bring into our conversation. It's why, well, that's not it. Why, but like I listened to it, especially when I get ready for the podcast. I was like, how are other people doing podcasts about video games?
Yeah,
and they're either like the Besties is a really good one. They do a good video game review podcast that's sweeping. And then I listened to a couple that I won't name that are like very specifically about certain games. And what some of them did was like, it would be an hour-long episode. In the first 25 minutes, we're not talking about the game.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, this is what I ate for dinner today. And you guys hear about this and there's this movie. And like, that's all fine. But if I'm tuning into a podcast about a game, I'm here to listen to that game. And that's why like you and I usually keep the off-topic chat to the minimum in most episodes. I edit a lot of it out. I know you don't listen to the podcast. I edit a lot of that out because unless you're listening to this right now, you don't care what we're saying. It doesn't matter. So that's most of what I listen to. But I like consuming. I have trouble picking up new ones, but when I do find one that I like, I really stick with it and go in. There's one with James Acaster and Ed Campbell, if you haven't heard it before, where the name will come to me later, but they have comedians on and have them plan out their dream meal off menu.
Okay.
You would like off menu, I think, because it's smaller chunks and it's comedians interviewing other comedians of like their dream meal, and it's unhinged. But it's very funny. It's talking about food. That's a pretty good one.
Nice.
Brian, it's been over an hour of doing this. Should we just like run through a bunch of ZZZ questions to wrap us up here? Is there anything else you want to talk about before we do that?
Let's see. I think we've touched on basically everything.
Let's do this one first. It ties in. If you were to do a podcast on something else, what would it be? Assuming you had time and energy and a partner.
All right. Well, it's tough because if we're thinking of like, well,
it doesn't have to be with me.
No. I was just thinking of like, I was like, do I want to do a Warhammer podcast? I'm like, maybe.
It might be hard. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. There's definitely plenty I could talk about on Warhammer.
Yeah.
There's the part of me that thinks of the Warhammer space is already super saturated with podcasts.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm
not doing it.
Yeah. Definitely D&D would be out. Like there's
also that community is intolerable.
But maybe board games, but
board games would be
I've with my new work schedule, I've fallen out of I haven't played a bunch of board games because like the day that my friend group meets to play board games is a day that I always work now. So I don't really play much board games anymore. It's now more Warhammer or D&D.
It sounds like with Warhammer, you can. It's a game where like you playing it is a part of it, but also like you can invest in your hobby and put time into the hobby solo because there's the painting and
there are so many people that never play Warhammer.
That would be me. I guarantee.
They're very cool models, and so you can get into kit bashing them and like just making these really cool elaborate dioramas of like Warhammer and stuff.
That's awesome.
I mean, I guess if I had to pick one, it would probably be Warhammer because that's probably my biggest.
I bet you could find an angle to it that would be like for us making Sixth Street. We wanted to do a ZZZ podcast that was only positive.
Yeah.
Like, not to keep throwing us back to that first question, but there's so many people and there's so much conversation online that is negative and hateful and like nitpicking. I didn't want to just like, it's the best, I'd say it's the best thing in the world, but I wanted to make a podcast that it was listenable.
It's for people who enjoy the topic,
but it makes you want to be like, I'm excited about this game, and not be like, I listen to this podcast and I don't feel like playing anymore. Yeah. And I feel like that would be the same channel.
Yeah, I don't want to do Warhammer. Warhammer can be very doom and gloom.
Yeah.
Especially like right now they're getting off topic, but they're getting ready for a new edition. And
this is Brian's Warhammer podcast.
They're changing some rules, and some people are really excited about them. Some people are like, the game's getting ruined. And it's like any big hobby is anytime you change things, people hate it.
Everyone's gonna hate everything anyways.
You don't change it, people hate it. So there's no making people happy. And the older I get, the more I'm like, I don't have time to be negative about things.
That's just it, right? You and I are both in our 30s. We're on the second half of 30s at this point.
Yeah.
And it's just like, the world already kind of sucks most of the time. I don't want to consume things that make me mad.
Yeah.
Like I'm choosing joy, and I want to consume and make content that also celebrates and brings joy to people, and like, that sounds highfalutin, like that's what I want to do. I don't want to put negativity in the world.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking. I would do a podcast with my sibling about words every week. A comedy vocabulary podcast called Big Words for Smart People, streaming now on all of your favorite podcatchers. I also would love to do a podcast about like either parenting. Like I want to do a dad podcast that's not giving dad advice.
Yeah.
But it's just like dads talking about the dad things they've done. Like getting bored and cleaning up my garage. Or a friend of mine who had a kid about a year after me, he is in the process of replacing the wheels on his stroller with pneumatic wheels, so it's got a smoother ride when he pushes her around campus.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's fascinating to me and like 8 other people who have kids and nobody else.
Yeah.
I like a niche podcast. But I already do too. I don't have time to edit another one right now. Okay, now
So
anything
now,
else?
Yeah, now we can hit a few of these.
Let's do some ZZZ.
Yeah.
I think we can go down the list for the most part. We can bounce around. You want to just take turns asking questions?
Yeah. Well, we'll start with. We'll start at the beginning.
Yeah.
How did we get into gacha gaming and ZZZ in particular?
I mean, a lot of it comes back to me wanting things to do daily. I started with my first gacha game was Arknights, which you played for a while.
I did play.
I think you were actually playing before I started.
Yes, I think I actually got into gachas before you.
You did, because you played...
I got into it through Fate Grand Order.
Yep.
Because I was a big fan, still am, I guess, of the Fate series.
Yeah.
And so when it came over to the US, me and my buddies from college started playing it.
Ground floor on that one.
Yeah, so we got that one. Oh,
that one was probably hard to drop because you put a lot of time into it.
I put a lot of time. I put a lot of money into that. That one goes back to the gachas that demand you spend money on them.
Yeah,
none of the quality of lives that exist in current gachas existed in that one.
I tried picking that up at one point.
Doing the dailies doesn't respect your time. Pulling doesn't respect your time. The story was the story was good. It was well written, but they were super long.
They were long because I tried picking it up when Skaha.
It's technically her. It's Gaelic.
Yeah, I mean, I know the Kukulin story.
Yeah.
I know all about that.
Yeah.
I tried picking it up. I was like, this is going to be great. I got 3 days in. I was like, this isn't for me.
No. You got in when Scotty came out.
That's right.
Skaha has been there since the beginning.
Okay, yeah. I came with Scotty.
She was the super cool, sexy Lantern.
And I was like, this is great. I can't. So you were doing gachas for a while.
We were doing gachas for a while, and I would go dip into other ones because that was when I had nothing but free time, so I could afford to run 2 or 3. And then it's kind of where ZZZ is now, where Fate Grand Order was my primary one, and then I would drop the other ones as I got tired or had too much was taking too much time.
I picked up I was taking a bath. And I was trying to find a new game to play on my phone, and I really wanted something to scratch the itch of progress and doing something, but didn't require me to play an MMO. I was trying to fill that space. Picked up Arknights first and was like, oh, I love this. And was super into it and really loved consuming everything. And then I started feeling like the stories were going really long. And then I started feeling like every time new stages came out, I was just opening up my computer and having someone show me what to do. Yeah. Because I didn't have time to trial and error it. But that got me into the gacha ecosystem. And then I was on Genshin day one. Because I was on Genshin day one because they advertised it on a Nintendo Switch, Nintendo Direct before the Switch came out.
Because I remember that was when we were still living together, or one of the times.
It was close to it, yeah.
Because I remember us watching it together, and we were both like, "Oh, that looks cool.
That looks awesome." So I started playing it on PC, going, "I'm just gonna play it here until it comes to console." Still hasn't come to console, or hasn't come to Switch. Came to PlayStation. I played it on PlayStation. That was around when that became my only gacha game, and then I've picked up some others since then. But Zenless I saw advertised, and I knew it was MiHoYo, and I was like, I'm gonna give it a try. This might be cool. I didn't watch too much on it ahead of time because I didn't want to spoil myself on things. And within a day, I was like, oh, I love this. The combat and the aesthetic, and you and I both bonded over how much we loved Persona 5,
yeah,
and which is all aesthetic, and that was the same hook. So I was like, Brian, have you checked this? I was afraid at first because I know Brian. I love Brian, and he is very susceptible to. If they get me, they get me. If they get him, he's in. And I didn't want to put that curse on him, Ricky Bobby. But I mentioned it to him with the secret intent of being like, well, if Brian likes it, we could do a podcast on it. That would be kind of cool. Yeah. And that was, I think that was really got us on ZZZ, and it ticked all the right boxes for both of us. Yeah. And as we've said earlier, the respecting of our time, because we got in it on the ground floor. Speaking of ZZZ, Brian, what's your favorite unexpected character you've pulled, or that you invest in, or other side, who's somebody you thought you were going to be really big into, and then just
Evelyn. Evelyn was the one I thought I would be really into. Yeah. They're just outside. Okay.
Their family, not somebody else walking by.
Because, she's cool, she's hot. but just she's where they like veer more into like the fighting game character, and
Yeah.
I'm not that great with them.
Yeah. I was not expecting to like Yidhari. I was like, Yidhari's for Brian.
Yeah.
As we had a D&D conversation, Brian gets Yidhari. I get Lucia.
Ever since like early on when Eric showed me the leak of like
Yeah.
Yidhari from the early where she was the like big hammer battle nun, and I was like, I want that character. Bring me that character.
Yeah. So like I was like, I'm not gonna worry about it. I don't like the mechanic. I use Yidhari almost all the time because she's really fun for clearing daily chip stages.
Yeah. I will say the one I didn't expect to like.
Yeah.
Would probably be Alice.
Okay.
When
we are both in that because we in the podcast we even said like I don't really care. I don't know.
Yeah, I was like I'm still not like her aesthetic. It's nice enough, but like it's not something that like it's not one of those characters that I pulled because of their aesthetic.
Yeah.
But when we played the demo and they do it right, like where they get you to play the demo and then you're like, all right. And I was like, oh, she's actually a lot of fun to play.
She's a lot. The other one I think that really clicked with me, and I know he didn't click with you, is Banyue. Banyue, I was like, I love his aesthetic. I don't really want him. I'm not going to play him that much. I started playing, and I was like, oh, this is like the mechanic part of my brain is very satisfied playing Banyue.
I love Banyue's mechanic and his character. I'm like, I've played it enough.
Yeah.
But like those trial stages where like they give you the buffs, I'm like, that was a slog playing him. For whatever reason, every time they make a fire character, I can't play them.
They've had trouble with fire.
Except for Orphe. I can play Orphe perfectly.
Because you don't use her?
Because you just show up, she shoots a laser beam, and then you go back.
You push a button and leave. I've tried to get Evelyn working for me more. Banyue is the first one that I was like, he's mechanically intensive, but in a way that feels good to play.
Yeah.
I will say with him, I don't like to play Banyue when I'm using my phone.
Oh, yeah.
I need buttons.
Is there anyone you regret or weapons you regret pulling?
I only regret Bernice's weapon because they've given us another way of getting it now. I got Bernice's weapon when she first came out.
Yeah. I
don't think there's anybody I fully regret getting. I wish I used Evelyn more. I think there are characters that I regret not being able to get yet. Like, and I think there's like Seed for me is a character that like, and I don't regret them not having her. It's just that like, I like her and wish I could have that on my account, but I don't need it. And so like, regret's such a tricky word. And it's also one that we don't throw around a lot on the podcast because that would err towards negativity. But like, I wish I had everybody. That would be cool. I like using everybody.
Yeah. I don't think I regret anyone either. Mm-hmm. Like Evelyn, I don't really play her much because I'm not good at her.
But when she first came out, we used her a ton.
We did use her a ton. Like even me not being good at her because she filled a role that we didn't really have.
Fire.
Yeah.
Not Soldier 11 fire damage.
No. And then when I pull for weapons, there's not many people I've pulled for their weapon. Mm-hmm. And when I have, like, it's not been anything bad.
Yeah, and for me, like, the weapon rolling now, the W engine rolling now is really, like, there's that whole conversation about, like, heart versus brain, like, who's good and strong versus who do you care about. I don't get a W engine for character because I love that character. I get a W engine for that character because it magnifies their ability to do well on a team. So, like, Trigger's W engine, which is huge for her. Nunggong's W engine, which is huge. Like, not necessarily, like, they have major impacts mechanically. And then, like, if it's a Void Hunter level,
the Void Hunters, you those are kind of auto pulls.
Or if it's like a character who scales off something they just don't have alternatives for.
Yeah.
What was your favorite Bang Boo, Brian?
Bag Boo.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it early on in the podcast. I just love. He's just a little murder machine.
He's unhinged.
I think because there's even like an animation where like when you get hit, he gets mad and like stabs them.
Yeah, he pulls out his 2 hatchets. Do you use Bag Boo?
No,
I don't use anything A.
I don't really. I was gonna say I don't really use the. They've given us enough boo polls that it's easy enough to have A rank or like S ranks for everything.
And even like if you're lucky, get 3 copies of the new S rank so that they can profit off of 1 character on the team instead of 2. My favorite aesthetically is Night Boo.
I love Night Boo.
I love night aesthetic to begin with. And then also he has a little floaty on. Like, I love that little dude. He's great. But I also don't use him. He's other things.
Yeah. Let's see. What is an unexplored character type or faction you'd like to see?
I'd still really like to see knights.
Yeah.
You know, I'd like to see a knight character who I want to see, like, I think we talked about it a long time ago, like a medieval LARPing faction, but they're LARPing so hard they're legit.
We have a good chance of seeing it in 3.0 because the art teasers is very much an English coded.
It's England. You get T even.
So like there's a good chance of that, and because mine is kind of a similar vibe of like the battle nuns. So like you could go like battle nun knight factions.
Or the inevitable bunny suit thing. We're gonna see it at some point. It's coming. That's a cash cow.
That might be their pull in case of emergency.
Yeah, I would also like to see them explore characters who are not like simping for Belle and Woogles. Yeah. But are like either like neutral or just kind of like casual with them. I know that doesn't sell as well, so they're not gonna do it.
Which I think they like.
Banyue's a good example, actually. I don't think he's like, I'll mentor them.
Yeah, Banyue, some of Spook Shack. Like, I don't feel like any of Spook Shack really simp for them. Yeah. Like Trigger, 100% is in it for the Belle.
Trigger, Vivian, Yisheng Wang. Yeah, like a lot of ones, like they've released these characters, and I know there's like a lot of online discourse, and I'm not going to engage with it. But people complaining about it. It's part of the game. It's part of the style.
It's far from the most egregious.
It's not that bad. Like, there are other ones you can play.
I've played some games where the character's like, "Hello, it's nice to meet you. I love you. Thank you for killing that monster.
Yeah, you're my best friend now, and also I live with you. Hello."
And yeah, because I mean, it's one of those where they design it from the perspective of anyone. Like, if any one of these characters is the one that you vibe with the most, you want them to feel like they care about you.
I feel like Cecilia is a good example of where they're going now. Like, Cecilia is not simping for you. She's simping for anyone who makes life easier and more snack filled. Yeah. You know, like that's what she's doing. She feels like a friend to me. You know what I mean? I like when they feel like a friend to the siblings. I also just like Cecilia. Hi, Cecilia. You can be on our podcast.
She can't see us.
You don't know that. We're on the YouTubes now.
Oh, that's true.
They can see us. If they can see us, we can see them. Yeah.
Yeah, I like on that same of like the character type. Mm-hmm. I like the. I think that's also why I liked the Banyue, is because he was. I mean, I'm also a sucker for the like overcoming your sin through great effort. Yeah. And so like something like that where he's...
And also he's Piccolo.
Yeah. I mean, which Piccolo is the same thing.
Same thing, right?
Piccolo is like, they were like, I like what you did with that character. Do it, but as a robot. And he's like, do I have to change my voice? They're like, please don't.
Please don't. We'll do it. We got you. Is there anybody like the characters we've talked about this? What somebody asked, if you could hang out with one agent in real life, just as friends, parentheses, which, yes... we're in relationships. Who would it be?
So the obvious answer is Yanagi. Yeah. But I'm thinking from the perspective of who I think would be the most fun to just hang out with.
I've thought about this, so I can go first if you want. Yeah. Part of me wants to say Lucia, because I like that Lucia would play board games with us 100%. Like we've seen from the Dami Dami video, that's what she would do. I think my actual answer, and it might be recency bias, is Cecilia. But that's because you and I live together, and so we've known each other for a long time. You know that one of my favorite ways to spend time with people I care about
is eating eggs.
Is to eat eggs. But I'm really good at cooking eggs. Is to sit in the same space and do things, maybe the same things, but also sometimes different things, and just enjoy the company of somebody else while you can kind of do what you want to do. And I think Cecilia would be totally down with hanging out, and she's playing one game, and I'm playing a totally different game. And just like enjoying the company of somebody else in a very low stakes kind of like parallel play environment. Mm-hmm. Like I just really enjoy that. And like I love that you and I could always do that. And so like I feel like Cecilia's not going to drag me to go do things out. She's going to be totally cool with like hanging out for the day and not having to do anything but eat snacks and chill. And that's very much my introvert milieu.
I think it. Pan. We'll just cook.
Yeah.
We'll just cook.
Yeah. Get some food.
Or I feel like Caesar would be a lot of fun.
Caesar would be a good
because she's chill and like you could go out and you could do stuff, but also she's not Bernice. Bernice I think would be fun, but she's unhinged and I'm too old to.
Yeah, I've got 1 hour of Bernice in me.
My back would give out just trying to drink enough nitro fuel.
Yeah.
Which I still love that they like. They never clarify whether or not it's alcoholic. Like they just always Vegas.
It's not for kids. I know that.
Yeah. I think Bernice would be fun, but she would be chaotic. I think Caesar would be like one level below, where like she'd be down if you wanted to go and do something fun, but also like if you just like hung out and also she's a bit of a goober. Yeah. And I like that.
I kind of need that. Yeah. Kind of dorks.
I can't have anyone that's like too. Like, Jane Doe would be absolutely out, because she's way too cool for us.
Jane Doe's too cool. Most of the characters are too cool. Jane Doe's too cool, Evelyn's too cool, Aster Yao's too cool. She doesn't know she's too cool, but she's too cool for us. Yeah. There's a lot of characters either too cool or they want to do things. Like, all of the cunning hairs, maybe Ambi, but most of the cunning hairs are just like, they're going to want to go out and do. Yeah. And man, even more than you, I don't want to go out and do anything.
I like going out and doing stuff sometimes. Yeah. So I want that perfect middle ground.
You're a lot better. Like I've always, not to keep inflating you, but I've always appreciated your willingness to like say yes to things. Like your gut is people go, hey, you want to do this? You go, yeah, let's find out. That sounds cool. I'm not that person.
That's because you don't hear that inner monologue of me being like, why did I just want to sit at home. Why did I force myself to go out and be social?
Mistakes were made.
There are definitely times where I'm like, I need to go out. I want to go out and do stuff. And then there's other times where I'm like, I want a break. Yeah. I need like a good solid day to just be able to be inside and just rot.
I get the opposite thing where I say no. And then I spend the whole night going like, I bet they're having a lot of fun. Why did I say no? I should have gone and done that. I could have done it. Oh man, the FOMO is real. Yeah, I don't know. People would chill out, and that's not really ZZZ's thing, because that would be a very boring game. Yeah, if the character's like, I don't want to do it.
Everyone was just chill.
I was gonna hang out at home and do nothing.
Let's see.
Any other questions that we want to tackle? I don't know. Somebody asked, like, what is your number one wish or dream that could come or happen to ZZZ? And my dream for ZZZ is one that it lasts for a long time. Yeah. Because I like doing this podcast with you and I like playing the game. But that the story continues to, like, resolve things. Like, I think sometimes gacha games are, by their very nature, very adverse to, like, ending anything and resolving a story. I would much rather them, like, wrap a story and be like, this is what's done. Let's do something new.
It does seem like gachas to some extent are getting more comfortable with doing that, because Honkai ended and like launched a second version, right?
Yeah. The original Honkai ended it. Like, it's still running, but like they've got very clear endpoints for story. Yeah.
You have
Genshin said like they're gonna wrap up the story, but they're not wrapping up the game. They're like they started saying language like the Tevat chapter will be ending.
Well, you got Arc Knights. Nikkei just announced they're doing
Nikkei told us that they're just now finishing up the prologue of the game, 47 chapters in. But that Nikkei does a really good job of story being concise and like letting things wrap up to then start something new again.
Yeah. My dream would be that we get playable characters of us in the game. Yeah. Actually, that would be way too much pressure.
No, put us in as A-ranked bang boos so that people can look at us and never use us.
That would be the ideal. We're just A-ranked bang boos from a silly Marcel adventure. It's just called Bang Bros.
Yeah, exactly. And this can't have that tattoo.
Bang boos.
It's Bang Bros. Sixth Street Bang Bros. That like, if you know it's a reference, cool. I would genuinely, like, this is me blue skying. I would love to be given any kind of official recognition in any capacity, whether that's like,
if they just want to tell us what's coming up.
Yeah, like,
just let us know when they're going to drop teasers, so that way we can plan our recording schedules better.
Acknowledge that we exist. I would love that, just because like we love the game. And the same thing with the podcast. Like, I would love to see. I'm not greedy. I don't want I mean, I want people to continue to find and discover and enjoy the podcast that we do and love what we do. And to tell us when we do things they don't like so we know not to do it again.
Yeah.
You know? No one's complained to me yet about the one episode where I opened up with a weird long monologue. And I don't know why no one's complained. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, please tell me when it's bad. But I don't know. I enjoy the game and I enjoy getting the chance to sit down every other week and have an excuse to talk with you.
Yeah.
And to hang out and spend time together. And I was vaguely worried when we first started doing this that like by codifying it or by like adding expectations on it that it would be a fractious situation and like there would be friction. And genuinely, like, apart from you and I having to juggle figuring out when the heck we're going to actually record
some of our figuring out our work schedules, but...
We get some weird recording times, but it's never felt like a burden. It's never felt like anything but a fun time with my friend. And I'm glad that we can share that with people. I think we're getting lag on the screen, so I'm going to wrap it up soon. It's just been a lot of fun, man. I want to keep doing this for as long as we possibly can.
I've enjoyed it. I will be curious to see how this turns out.
Yeah, if you liked this, let us know.
This was a very...
This is scary.
Well, this was a tough undertaking because we by no means have professional like studio equipment, so we just moved the couch in front of this bookshelf.
Yeah.
And we've got like a camera and some...
We're using my webcam and ring light and a bunch of different mic setups, hoping that any of the audio comes through. And we're in my office. So we tried. I'm sure we'd be happy to do more of this if like it's received well, if we can find a way to make it work. I'm happy to invest in a space.
Or if you all never want to hear anything personal about us ever again.
We don't care. But I'm gonna wrap it up.
Yeah.
We hope you've enjoyed this. If you like what we do, like, comment, subscribe, follow. Especially if you like this sounds greedy, but we do a lot of this in a vacuum. Like the Discord is really cool because the Discord gives people to come in and talk to us. But there's also a degree of like people don't come in and say, I'm not asking for this, but people don't come in and say mean things in the Discord. Because it is a little bit more like a conversation. It's hard to tell somebody, hey, Eric, that stunk. Leave comments if you're like, this was really cool, or we want to hear more about this story, or whatever. The only way we can know what to do and what works and what doesn't work is if we get feedback on it, because we're morons and we like everything we do because we're doing it with each other.
Yeah. We're just hanging out and we're talking, so we have... Once again, we're still surprised that anyone has enjoyed our initial format.
The episode's only an hour long because I can't edit anything longer than that consistently over the time, or we would just do it for as long as we want to.
Yeah.
But like, comment, subscribe, follow, share with friends. Over the summer, I'm going to be trying to do some more like little clips of our show so that you can share it with people and be like, we thought this was funny, or like, oh, did you want to hear people talk about just Cecilia? Here's a Cecilia chunk. The other things that we're going to be doing, we are looking for ways to kind of expand the opportunities that come with the 6th Street Underground brand, as it were. If you're not already part of our Discord, that's genuinely the best place right now to like hear from things or to talk to us. Like I have a Blue Sky and I never figured out how to post it on it. So like it exists for us. But if we're going to be trying out some new things, we might try some other opportunities that include our faces or ways to like talk with us more actively. If you liked that, I don't want to see their face again. But genuinely, I'm gonna wrap it up with some saccharine nonsense. If you've sat through it this far, if you've been with us for the beginning or like recently and you've liked it whatsoever, if you've been willing to download our podcast or give us support, we do really appreciate it. It's been a really exciting journey.
Yeah.
So far, like this has been new. This is like my first podcast.
The amount of times we've texted each other and we're like, why are people still saying nice things about us? We're just two morons.
I wish I remembered who the first person to join our Discord was, because they joined our Discord and I was texting Brian like, What is happening? What do we do? I don't understand.
I remember because you made that Discord.
Yeah.
And like the first episode you posted about it, people started jumping in and their first statements were like, I've been waiting for you to say you had a Discord. And I was like, I legitimately didn't think the downloads that were showing up on the
I thought it was bots.
Yeah, I was like, maybe they were just pod scrapers or something.
It's gotta be something. I was and still am so terrified of putting that part of us out there and like giving the chance, because like there's also a very real chance where we put this out and no one joins the Discord and like nothing happens, and like that would have been okay, but it would also have been a little bit sad. I think we'd still be doing this, but like it's been really ratifying. It's been really my wife's tired of hearing me talk about
and it gives you an outlet so you don't have to talk to her about
just not to hear about CCC, but just like the opportunities that you have provided for us by just like being willing to listen to us talk about it has been really nice. And we're going to be putting more things in place that will let you support us or just kind of engage with us and the things that we do.
Yeah,
and support Brian's future Warhammer podcast.
Yeah.
I'll be on as your co-host and be like, I genuinely know nothing. Explain this to me.
Unfortunately, there's already a podcast where that's the bit, is like one guy knows the lore and the other one just like knows like surface level, and like he tells them and then the guy reacts.
It would depend on the version of this podcast where I talk at you a lot and you go, yeah, I think she's hot. Well, okay, y'all. Anything you want to say before we close out? I've just been yammering.
Yanagi!
Okay. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate it. We'll be back with another episode in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye.